In the first ever episode of the show, we've got promising new titles in the gaming and streaming world, a new piece of tech that might just revolutionize the way you view mobile streaming, and a major title that is experiencing severe issues at launch. Man, do we have quite the show lined up for you this week. Hey everybody! Welcome to the first ever episode of the Always Gametime Podcast. I am your host, Ben, and joining me is your co-host and resident inverted controls gamer, Ryan. Ryan, why don't you introduce yourself and say hello to everybody? Hey guys, quick update. Ryan's microphone was actually muted here, but we catch it super early and it will be back in just a minute. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Yeah, so welcome everyone. If you guys couldn't tell, we're obviously both super excited to be doing this. Thank you to everyone who showed up for our first episode of what is sure to be a long and fun journey for everyone involved. We've got a lot to cover with you all today, but the very first thing that we want to do is give you guys a little bit more backstory about who we are, what the show's going to look like, and what you guys can expect to us week to week. So yeah, let's just hop in. If you guys are new to the community, like I said, I want to give you guys some backstory about who I am, and then Ryan can obviously tell you guys a little bit more about himself. But I am a gaming content creator, and I fell in love with streaming in 2015 when I loaded up my very first Twitch stream directly from my Xbox. Sorry, I just realized your audio wasn't on roster. That's okay. We're back.
What?
Yep, we're gonna iron all these bugs out, guys. So at least you got to see our faces. So, anyways,
and at least they missed me calling you Ryan. I mean, I ratted myself out now, but hey,
this is all gonna go in a bloopers reel on some other content. But in any case, sorry. Starting fresh from the top, my name's Ben. This is Ryan. We're both here to do a podcast with you guys. We're very excited and nervous, and that's why this is kind of where it is. But
it's new.
Yeah, it's new. It's exciting. It's fresh. It's new for both of us. It's new for you guys. So to keep this train moving, I'm a content creator who's been on Twitch for 5 or 6 years now, believe it or not. And I have been gaming as long as I can remember. I love all types of video games. Shooter games, story games, Minecraft, you name it, I've played it. And we both actually share a lot in common, Ryan and I, in gaming and streaming and kind of our love for this process. And I know that we've both come a very long way in that process and learned a lot of things. Yes. And so we finally decided after all this time that we were going to kind of take these late night discussions we've had about games, streams online to you, the listeners at home. And that's what this podcast is going to be.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I've always wanted to do a project with Ben for a very long time. We always tossed it around trying to decide what to do. And then we just I just said, let's keep it basic, right? I honestly, I think this is going to be Ben's best format is podcasting. So I'm going to get the best out of Always Game Time. That's what I'm going to say here. But a little bit more about me. I also have been gaming since I could walk. A little shout out to my mom, Tracy. She owned a video store which had games as well, and she probably, got me into gaming as young as the regular Nintendo. Right. So ever since then, I've always, that's what got me into software development now to my career, right? Thinking that I was going to make games, but that still transitioned to something else. But what this show is going to be is kind of Ben and I bringing out what we like about the new tech that's coming out, right? Games, obviously, stream theory. I think a lot of stream theory is going to come out in various topics that you wouldn't expect it, right? And hopefully we'll give you guys ideas if you're creators out there and you can do something with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is definitely a podcast like for gamers by gamers, just to use an old cliche. And to talk a little bit more about the logistics of what this podcast is, where you can watch it, those kinds of things. The plan is to do this show every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be live broadcasted to you guys. And then that show is going to be taken and uploaded to our YouTube channel where you guys can watch an episode if you've missed it. We're also going to be distributing an audio version of the podcast as well. So you guys have no excuse not to be up to date with new games, streaming, all of this wonderful stuff that we're going to cover in the show. So that is where you guys can find us. We also have a new Twitter account and a Discord that you guys can join. We'll plug those a little bit later towards the end.
We're all over. And let's not pigeonhole ourselves. I'm sure the show is going to grow in terms of what we think it is now and what it's going to be later. So, be around, give us your input back and forth on all the social medias and stuff, and let us know what you think.
Yeah, definitely give us feedback. We're going to be definitely trying to improve on this and grow it. Yeah, it's not just about us and what we want to create. We want to make sure that you guys are having a good time as well. So, but in any case, hopefully if you guys have any questions, you guys can always tweet us. You can leave comments on the video wherever you're watching this broadcast. So I know that we have a lot of really fun segments and things that we've been throwing out and ways to engage you guys. And I think we're going to go ahead and move into our very first segment, which is going to be some gaming news. And that's actually going to be with Ryan. So why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Yeah, so we're going to start with probably one of the biggest disappointments in gaming that we've seen. And don't forget the transition here, Ben. And the Cyberpunk recently, it was released December 10th. And then we had Best Buy did a special where it was 50% off. You could literally buy the game for $30. There was a two-day deal. I wish I would have grabbed it. Like I saw it within the site myself. And, this for a game to drop 50%, especially a AAA game like that, is pretty remarkable. If you see it, I think it's worth picking up because they're still doing updates. They're still doing these multiple free DLCs, but it's still not available on the PlayStation Store, right? They had to take it off because the game was so poor and so many people were asking for refunds. In terms of streaming, like bringing it back to like what we like to talk about in stream theory, it doesn't seem to be a good game to stream for small streamers, but the partners were fairly successful with it. But I think it's going to kind of have its up and downs with all the updates that are going to come out for it. And then you have the DLC. So I imagine the top side won't pick it up every time. So maybe you medium, small streamers can kind of sneak in at those peaks every now and then. I know, Ben, you didn't have any interest in it before. What about now? What about if you were able to get a 50% discount on it? Would that change anything?
Yeah, so for whatever reason, I have this trend that occurs when something is overhyped that I kind of have this instant, I don't really want to be involved in that. It happened with The Office on Netflix. Years and years, people told me it's such a good show. And eventually I watched it and I was like, this is amazing. I see what everyone is talking about. So I kind of feel similar with Cyberpunk. I know the release had a lot of issues, talk about last gen consoles thinking they were going to play this new state of the art game and then running into performance issues. It's got to be disappointing, especially after a wait time of what I think was about 8 years of development. Side note,
crazy.
Not even sure what that means with how often technology changes. I got to imagine they kind of reinvented that game multiple times in that process. But just from a sheer standpoint of what I've seen gameplay wise, it's just, I don't know. I was kind of underwhelmed with the game overall as it was, and then to find out people couldn't play it and it was buggy, and it was very underwhelming for me. And this is alarming to me. I mean, I can't remember the last game I've seen where the price dropped so rapidly. I remember the meme of I forget which Call of Duty it was. I want to say it was Call of Duty Ghosts, where the price just plummeted to like $3 because they were like begging for people to play their game after, and granted it lasted a while, but my overall verdict is, if you think you're someone that would enjoy it, play it. But for me personally, I'd be okay just to kind of watch some content.
Yeah. Watch it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Definitely let us know what you guys think though.
Yeah. Let us know if you're going to pick it up, or if you already have picked it up and had issues, or everything's smooth sailing. I mean, because I know I have a buddy who's playing on old console Xbox, and he's not having any issues. But that's one, that's anecdotal. All right, let's move on to our games radar with Ben, who's going to talk about Little Nightmares 2.
Yeah, so kicking off our other segment for this week, it is Games Radar. The goal for this segment is going to be taking new games that have just released and kind of assessing them from a speculative standpoint on, is this a good game for you to hop on a stream with for growth? It's definitely centered towards growth. Obviously, as a streamer, you can play whatever games you guys enjoy to play through, and that is a decision for you and your community. But we're going to look at it a little bit more objectively. So, if you guys are not familiar, we have some gameplay up on the screen on the video side of the podcast. But Little Nightmares 2 is a puzzle platformer horror adventure game, and it is a direct sequel to Little Nightmares, which was released in 2017. Now, I emphasize horror because I hate horror games. Ryan, how do you feel about them?
Oh, I love horror games. One thing I like more than horror games is watching you play horror games.
That's the thing, and that's something that's so great about this genre is it is like a viewer magnet sometimes, and it can drive up a lot of hype, especially around release time. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about is before we get into the game itself, is it is released on every major platform. So that's already a good start because you're not limited to having to play it on PC or console, except for the Xbox Series X and PS5, which are, I believe you can play it there, but are supposed to be getting upgraded versions. So
Yes. Yep.
just a side note, if you're waiting on that, that's going to be coming later this year. So a couple stats. We did a deep dive. We looked at some of the stats of this game, and it's about 4 to 6 hours long on your first playthrough, and it was reviewed at an 8 out of a 10. So looks good. Supposedly supposed to be a good game, nice experience. The morning of release on Twitch had 63,000 people in the category, which I think is a good sign. But if you've been around on Twitch for any amount of time, you kind of know that these horror games tend to fall off pretty quickly after release. You got to imagine if someone's watched a playthrough of a 4-hour game before, there's only so many people that they'll watch play that experience. And of that 63,000 viewers, 44% was in the top 10 streamers, but there was 253 streamers live at that time. So we're talking about a distribution of that category being really highly focused in on the top 10, and those creators, could vary in size. You might have someone who has 100,000 followers, you might have someone who only has 1,000. So again, very speculative on this data, but the reason I tell it to you is because you do not have to be a giant streamer to try to gain any traction in this category. Even if you're new to horror games, if you bring over 10 viewers from your community into this category, you're going to be higher up on the list than, let's say, Call of Duty Warzone.
Exactly.
And again, the jump scares, the frightening moments, all super great content opportunities.
One thing to point out is usually it's above the 50% mark that are in the top streamers, right? Usually the top 10 or 5 streamers, it catches that 50% or more mark, doesn't it? So it being 44% kind of, not to use a poker term or a gambling term, but there's overlay kind of, right? So it is probably a good game to stream, like you're saying.
Yeah, and if you're someone who absolutely hates it, again, it's to your own discretion, but we think that at least for the first 2 weeks or so, this is a good ticket item for those of you guys who are interested in the story already and are considering streaming it. The next game that we are going to talk about is one that I'm very excited for, but just doesn't seem like the community is, and I'm going to pass it over to Ryan so he can talk to you guys about it a little bit more.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about Destruction All Stars. This is a game that I was pretty pumped for when it came out. Right, it was part of my bundle for the PlayStation 5, and I was kind of amped to even pay full price for it. So the description of the game, it's basically a destruction derby, except your characters have different abilities as well, and you get points based on there's objective type modes, and then there's points based on just beating your opponent. Right, so. I originally picked this up release day. The game runs beautifully, runs smooth. It's quick. A little bit of server issues, which you're going to run into, obviously, with any release of a big game. But the game gets boring quick. And I look at the stream stats today or yesterday, actually, and man, they plummeted. Just people had the same review as I did is what I see in those stream stats, right? I mean, there was tons of viewers initially, and now it has just fallen off, viewers and streamers, right? It just seems like no one really wants to touch it.
And that's got to be a direct correlation to how many people are playing it. I have to imagine.
Yeah.
Now, Also, I'd have to imagine with it being free to play, I'm imagining they signed some kind of deal with PlayStation to get their game on the platform and have it, especially on or around release. So I'm sure that they did fine. And I personally love the game. I do feel as if it's one of those things you could pick up and play for 4 or 5 hours and be like, all right, I'll never see that again until they
Oh,
do a major update.
yeah,
But I will say there is a game mode in Destruction All Stars called Gridfall that
yeah,
is, you guys are going to make fun of me, but it's like a mini battle royale. And that's the one. That's the one that might hook some people because you only
okay.
have one life as opposed to the rest of the modes being kind of like a team deathmatch.
It's Fall
And
Guys.
it's very much so like Fall
It's
Guys.
Fall Guys.
You
Yeah,
can it's very satisfying to take people out because they're just gone. But
yeah,
the 2 or 4 times that I played that, I drove off of the floor. The tiles get removed, and so there's gaps
yeah,
that you can drive into, and I died that way every time that I played that mode. So,
yeah.
needless to say, back to kind of just the game holistically, it's very polished. It's very fun for a bit. But just looking at, I mean, the stats are kind of abysmal. That's, we don't want to tell you guys not to stream it. Like, if you enjoy it, go make it be the best that it can be.
Hmm.
And it is free to play still, I believe, until April. So,
Yeah,
if you guys want to check it out, if you think it looks like a good time, don't let us stop you. We're just here to kind of
for
look at
sure.
the stats.
Yep, it is a quality game, and if you find that enjoyment to put multiple hours into it, go for it. It's just I think it might be one of those games that is tough to stick with, right? Right? You might form a community around it, and then wake up one day and be like, I don't want to stream this game anymore, right? It's kind of like what happened to me with Apex way back in the day, right? It's just like this is a good game, but I don't want any part of it anymore. And if you can get past that, go for it.
Yeah, so that will wrap up our segment of Games Radar this week. Let us know in the comments, in the chat, what you guys think about both of these titles, as well as if there's any upcoming games you guys would like us to review live on the podcast. Our goal is to stay up to date and give you guys a good idea of, especially if you're a streamer, what is a good option for you to potentially explore, but also if you're just someone who plays video games, let you guys know what's up and coming. So we're going to transition here to our last segment of the podcast, which is going to be our tech talk segment. And this segment is designed to discuss upcoming tech that streamers could use in their setups, from new cameras, new softwares, anything that might give you a competitive edge to your stream and just help you improve it that much more. So this week, we will be talking about Discord, a platform that you are all probably very familiar with, a platform we're using currently to make this podcast possible.
Exclamation Discord in the chat.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead.
That command. Yep, there you go. And if you guys don't know what Discord is, basically it is a messaging platform that is widely known for gaming, but even in the professional world, it is a tool that people can use to collaborate and connect with one another through text chats and video chats. They did eventually, it was just voice calls and text, but they added a webcam functionality so that you can do video meetings very similarly to Zoom, and even sharing your screen. You can share a desktop screen, application, or game, and others that are in the voice chat can watch along and see what you're doing. Ryan, have you ever used this feature before? I'm curious.
Oh yeah. Yep. So we had to use Microsoft Teams for work, right? And I was trying to get us to go to Discord, but with failure. So I was kind of giving my pitch of it. So yes, I'm very familiar with all the bells and whistles of Discord.
Yeah, and it's nice. I mean, and it's one of those things that it feels like they are constantly trying to like add value and update their stuff to really provide the best product they can.
Oh, for sure. They're diving into the business market, right? A couple months ago, probably 3 or 4 months ago now, they even put out a presser saying, "Hey, we're not just a gaming platform anymore. We're a full-on business platform." So they're trying to take on the market like Slack, Microsoft Teams, whatever else you have out there. And I think they're doing a very fine job of it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in any case, we talked about a little bit what Discord is. Now let's get into the update that I have
Yeah.
a very big interest on, and I think that could be something that streamers should know about and are probably underutilizing at the moment. And that is they've taken their ability to screen share computer screen and applications down to the phone to mobile. And when we talk about that, the process is exactly the same. You join a voice chat on your phone within the Discord app, and then you have a little share your screen button, and you go live, and it actually captures the entire screen. So obviously, use some discretion when you're doing this, but you can do mobile games, you can do YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, whatever you want to scroll through, and people can then enjoy that experience alongside of you. And I, for one, when looking at this, was kind of like, what's the point? And then
Yep.
immediately I started thinking, as someone who tries to always push the envelope on my stream and get creative with what I can do, it's like, man, there might actually be some cool stuff you could do with this.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. One of the things that I've always wanted to do is be able to get up from my desktop and still not break off a stream and keep streaming. Kind of with this, you could, right? You set up 2 Discord accounts, you stream your phone, right? You get up and go. You could then now, whether you're going to have your chat on your phone to share screen, and so you can keep up with that, whether while you're walking around or whatever, or you can do a game, transition to a game on your phone. Or Ben, I think you had a good idea as well, right? You could stream a mobile game as well as between your game that you're already playing, right? I mean, it'd be pretty interesting ideas that you could come up with this.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely want to challenge everyone listening, especially if you're a creator or streamer, just to think about the different applications of this tool.
Mm-hmm.
The quality is going to be reduced, right? We already know that through Discord, if you're screen sharing, you're encoding your video onto the internet, so it's not going to be necessarily the highest quality. But one of
Yep.
the ideas I came up with, and actually, if you guys watch Ninja on Twitch, he actually plays Pokemon Go between Valorant rounds, which I think is hilarious. But um, one of the possibilities you have now is being able to do mobile content simultaneously with your desktop content by capturing that window within OBS and bringing your phone screen to life on your stream. And I think that that's super cool. Before, streamers that were really big and popular kind of in the mobile area of Twitch would use emulators for their games, or they
Mm-hmm.
had some like third party capture card systems that you could plug your phone into. I know Elgato is kind of breaking up into using your phone as a webcam. That's maybe similar along the lines of this, but now it's super easy. You can just broadcast your screen, capture that within OBS, put it up on a scene, and I think that there's going to be some people that take advantage of this in some really cool ways. I'm excited to see how it develops.
Is there any Twitch integration within it? Can I just share it to Discord and then stream that as well, or do I still need some kind of intermittent something in between to stream that
Yeah,
to
so
Twitch or
if
Facebook,
if,
YouTube?
if you guys have never streamed before and this is all maybe too technical, basically what's
Yeah.
happening here is you're sending a feed to an application, and then you're using a different software to capture that feed and then restream that through to wherever you're broadcasting it. So you will still need some kind of third party like OBS,
Hmm.
but luckily most streamers that do stream from a computer already know how to utilize that software, have been
Yep.
using it for a long time. So should be straightforward.
It could be a potential gain if they can you know make that integration with streaming services, right? I mean, that seems like the next logical step that I can see them doing. When you agree, I mean, I think it'd be hugely beneficial, right? I
Yeah,
mean, someone could just pick up, play a mobile game, and stream like on the go almost.
I definitely am inclined to agree with you. The one thing I would be interested to know, which I don't at the moment, is mobile streaming through Twitch's app. I'm not sure if
Mhm.
that's just with the phone's camera or if that also has some kind of
It
screen
is.
cap software.
It is. No, it would require Discord to use a stream key and then send a feed out. That's all it would be, really.
Sure. And
Yeah.
I know that the two have worked together in the past with integrations, but that's actually something
Mhm.
that I'd see more so Twitch just picking up for their mobile streaming in the
Maybe, yeah,
future.
maybe they don't want to work with them. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think? I'm curious to see those of you that are
Yeah.
listening in. Let us know. Like, do you think mobile streaming has any legs to it at all? Like, do you think that this could be something that gives streamers an edge or something you want to see more of, even? Or is this just kind of a new piece of tech that's like, all right, that's cool, but never going to use that? I'm curious to see what you guys think.
Yeah. Think and come up with, yeah. Let us know.
All right, so we know that this has been a little bit of a, it's our first show, and
Yeah.
we're drawing to a close. I'm sure there were several things that we're going to go to the drawing board and work on improving for next week's episode. But the point is that we are live. We're here. We're excited to grow with you guys and see how you respond to this. And it looks like we're gonna start celebrating right away over here.
I popped that champagne. I don't know if you heard that. Oh man. But congratulations, Ben.
Yeah, congratulations. I'm excited. We'll get through this and it's going to be a good time. Yeah, first one.
Cheers.
To our clink.
To 1,000 more. Clink, yeah.
Yeah, thanks pandemic and virtual. Yeah, anyway. That's a topic for a different podcast, but
yes.
So in any case,
that'll be
guys,
the podcast where it's my name, not his.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be the other branded one we'll announce in a month. No, this one's a lot to. Anyway, we're you guys. If you need to connect with us again, I do just want to plug. We do have a Twitter, Discord, TikTok. There's going to be a Patreon with exclusive content coming in the works soon. We want to make sure that we get all of this, nailed down for you guys first. We don't want to lock anything behind a paywall, just add extra incentives. But there's tons of ways to connect with us. So if you enjoy this kind of thing, if you want to come alongside and support our growth in this, then definitely be sure to click those links. You can do !podcast in the chat if you're here live to get those links. And I'm going to head it over to Ryan with any other lasting things you want to leave people with here for this week.
No, man, it's been an exciting week, right? It's going to be an opportunity each and every week to do this show with you. It's going to be a lot of fun. As always, like Ben said, if you have questions, comments, be sure to leave them in the notes. Anywhere you're listening to it, go out and find it. Check out our Twitter, our Discord, all that fun stuff. And I look forward to seeing how this pod grows, right? And just let us know anything we can do to improve it. And that's all I got. Spread that peace and love. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Ben, and we will catch you guys next week on the Always Gametime Podcast. Thank you.